Let's go ahead and get started with news of the day. Officials in Southern California say they are still in search and rescue mode following Tuesday's mudslides. The death toll climbed to 17 on Wednesday evening. 30 miles of the 101 freeway in Santa Barbara County will remain shut down until at least Monday while crews clear water, mud, and debris. The lights are back on at the CES Tech Show in Las Vegas. Power went out for about 2 hours in some of the showrooms at the Las Vegas Convention Center on Wednesday. Officials are blaming the outage on heavy rainfall earlier this week. Some of the exhibitors used the blackout to tout their battery-operated products. An eastern Montana man will spend a little more than 1 year in prison for a drunk driving crash that killed his best friend. 21-year-old Thomas Scott of Chelsea, Montana, east of Poplar, was sentenced in Great Falls federal court on Wednesday to 15 months in prison on 1 count of involuntary manslaughter. Prosecutors say Scott was the designated driver back in June of 2015, but he drank and then got behind the wheel. On the way home, Scott's vehicle rolled on the Fort Peck Indian Reservation. His passenger, 19-year-old Joseph Hansen of Culbertson, died when he was ejected from the vehicle. Defense attorneys argue that Scott has been suffering with guilt for years. After he served his sentence, Scott will be on supervised release for 2 years. There's still no suspect in custody in Sunday's Belgrade shooting death, but the crime scene is under close watch as authorities conduct their investigation. Several departments are assisting Belgrade police in watching over the crime scene. An officer will be posted at the home, and the area will be taped off through the entire investigation to ensure no evidence is destroyed. Belgrade's police chief confirmed the person of interest who was in custody has since been released. One woman, identified as 35-year-old Lauren Walder DeWise of Bozeman, was killed in the shooting, and another woman was injured. Near Livingston, some 1,400 acres of land are now being considered for possible oil and gas leases. But before any drilling starts, residents can express their views during a public comment period. One of the parcels under consideration includes the Livingston Airport, southeast of town, and Interstate 90. BLM officials tell us this is an uncommon area for this type of request. If the lease is purchased by a company interested in the minerals below, it would likely be years before any drilling would begin.
This is a step in the process. Should there be a parcel put up for sale, and if somebody were to buy it in March, there's still a lot of work ahead before somebody could begin exploration.
The public comment period ends this Saturday, so time is of the essence. All Montana residents can submit comments. You can find out how to do that by visiting this story on ktvq.com. Back here in Billings, downtown's 110-year-old Babcock Theatre may soon be a venue for movies. The Art House Pub and Cinema plans to show first run in independent films. A committee voted 6-2 to recommend that the Billings City Council negotiate with Art House. According to Last Best News, the committee considered 2 proposals. The other was from local contractor and businessman Harvey Singh and Knitting Factory Presents. It's possible Art House founder and president Matt Blakesley will book events with Singh's group. Final approval from the Billings City Council would happen within the next couple of weeks, and movies could start showing at the Babcock within a month once an agreement is signed. As one Montana landmark finds a way to thrive, another one dies. After a last-minute effort, a deal could not be reached to save the historic Lockridge Medical Clinic building in Whitefish, designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. Demolition began last night. In a release put out by the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy, a failed negotiation was detailed in which a full-price $1.7 million offer was submitted to the building's owner. Disagreements over the security deposit amount and concerns over the building's current condition led the deal to fall through before Wednesday's deadline set by the seller. The Conservancy says the owner's plans to demolish the building first surfaced in November of 2016. Organizations including the Montana Preservation Alliance and the Frank Lloyd Wright Building Conservancy have been working to put a deal in place for more than a year. It's the first viable Wright-designed building to be demolished in more than 40 years. A reminder on this winter's dangerous road conditions west of Columbus. A Stillwater County Sheriff's deputy was hit in his squad car while responding to an accident on I-90. According to Under Sheriff Chip Kim, a pickup truck rear-ended the deputy's vehicle. The pickup was behind a semi-truck in the passing lane when the semi slowed down. Unable to slow down in time, the pickup quickly changed lanes, clipping the patrol vehicle parked on the shoulder. The pickup then spun and was hit by the semi. The deputy was transported to the hospital as a precaution, but his injuries were not severe. The other drivers were not injured. Wrapping up our news this Thursday, we head back to the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas, where a familiar face presented to a curious crowd.
My name's Craig Beals. I'm a science teacher in Montana. If you don't know where Montana is, it's a place full of mountains and snow. And I figured I should bring some snow down here to the desert in 3, 2, 1. Catch it! Woo!
He is such a cool teacher. Billings Senior High science teacher Craig Beals wowed the crowd at CES on Wednesday with several of his demonstrations. He showed off the CO2 canister, dragon cereal, and the balloon pop. He's presenting for FLIR, the infrared camera company. You can catch one more of his presentations live this evening at 5:30. The feed is on his website, bealsscience.com.